Yes, I shaved off the proto-beard. I am no longer Team Beard. I know I only tried to grow it for like a week, but you're supposed to do it for a month. But I was getting so incredibly irritated with having food stuck in there already that I just said no. This just isn't for me. I'm sticking with my 5 o'clock shadow. I know this is disappointing, but we live in a world where The Wire got cancelled, so you should be used to this kind of disappointment by now. So I feel like things have been going quite well for me recently, and I got the urge to sort of take that love and spread it around a little bit, because what better thing to do when people like what you do than to use what you do to make them watch other things instead. So today I'll be shouting out a series of channels, and all of these channels are channels where I will watch the video, any new video that comes out, every single one of them, within 24 hours of when it's published. Usually as fast as possible. But wait, there's more! For every channel above 100k that I shout out in terms of subscribers, I will also shout out one that's below that, so what we would call a small channel, I guess, in the business. I don't know if that's the precise terminology, at least it's how I see it. And those are also channels to whom these criteria apply. Unfortunately, these criteria exclude like a fuck ton of educational channels that I really enjoy watching, because I take their videos, I put them in a separate window, and then I will watch them while I'm working out, or I'm playing video games, or like one of the things that you do where you can have videos running also. And yes, Isaac Arthur, Food Wishes, and Wang are all educational channels in my book. This also includes Kyle Kalinske, because my man puts out too many videos. Also, Big Asparagus is kind of at odds with Big Seltzer, so it's a star-crossed kind of a parasocial relationship. Also, if you know that I watch your channel and you don't show up here, it's probably because I recall one video of yours that I skipped ever. I'm this very strict, this one, so the video doesn't get too long, which it will be. The order of the big channels is randomized, the order of the small channels is ascending in sub count.
Big Channel 1, JXE.
Hey everyone! We all know that Watch Mojo is a bastion of quality, right?
I used to very passionately not watch JXE Sins because I just didn't care beyond the fact that he revealed to me that, you know, Cinema Sins is a shit channel. But ever since he started doing other content in the same general genre, he has kind of become like one of my favorite internet twinks, which is a very harsh competition playing field. Look, this man, aside from just being very good at reviewing media, has a talent that I can only refer to as, holy shit, how does he ace the delivery of literally everything that he says at all times?
I also enjoy this one, which, assuming the walkway has a consistent width, Kylo is this much bigger than Rey. Let me nitpick things, I enjoy it, I'm just having fun.
The thing that really sold me on this channel ultimately, after liking it for a while, is when he did the whole randomized gameplay elements in Minecraft to keep it interesting video, and he just presented it in a way that was so perfect.
But with the way that Minecraft actually works, it doesn't have to have a finite amount of content. It could literally have infinite features. And I'm gonna show you how. Introducing IG. It's called IG.
Just feels like one of those gameplay ideas that I'd come up with in the shower because I wanted to see it. And then somebody made it too, which I just want to reiterate, and I know Kashi is working on this somehow, but I still want to have an XCOM game with Borderlands-style randomized loot, so, you know.
Small Scale 1, Chariot Rider.
I don't think it is too controversial to say that puzzle games are at their best when they utilize deep rule sets with a lot of emergent properties that are explored throughout the game.
Listen, upload more videos. Just do it. This is not a joke. I am not joking at this point in time. Just I need more of the essays that you make. I am aware that my awkward game design boy hasn't uploaded in a while, but I feel like I can force him to do it by just placing enormous pressure and expectations on him. No, seriously, Chariot Rider is basically the only video game essayist that I, care about. And I couldn't even tell you why. I just like the guy. He has good takes.
Viewed through the lens of the explicit narrative, the ludic narrative of Super Meat Boy is about how this platformer is tough as nails, just like all those other classic games. These narratives both have their merits, and they were both trying to accomplish different things. Super Meat Boy was trying to be a love letter to NES platformers, and Celeste was trying to be a sincere exploration of anxiety.
Every single time I watch one of his, unfortunately very few videos, afterwards I feel like I understand something about just design in general that I didn't know before. I also forget that in a matter of seconds, but that is society's fault for constantly bombarding me with information. Just trust me when I say that you should go over there and just viciously bully that guy into making more of the content that the world needs. I'm joking, obviously no bully, or am I?
Big Channel 2, Young Scrolls.
Brush your teeth every day. Oh, don't play too many games. Oh, only 3 hours a day. Oh, respect your parents.
Okay.
Yes, this is a music channel. No, I will not apologize. Listen, making overly elaborate Elder Scrolls shitposts ain't an easy hustle. But then you also produce like high quality, good albums and tremendous music videos, and it's just out of this world. And honestly, with the rap shit, Young Scrolls has come up with some of the cleverest lines that I have ever seen.
Chalice with some fresh cattle juice. I'm really comfy in my vampire booth. Mow like balling every day. Act a fool. Pathetic creature. Romp up on you fool. Bad bitch, she gave me neck. My left dick is on her neck. Stupid bitch, she called me sunshine. I can't stand no disrespect.
I mean, holy fuck, Jesus, right? And all of this happens based on already existent Elder Scrolls voice samples. Just fathom the level of genius that this person must be to create such a niche kind of content to such a level of sophistication. There's jokes in these songs that like a handful of people in the whole world will ever understand because they're so deep in Elder Scrolls deep lore.
Even in okay, I'm a ghost rider for your favorite rapper. I'll give you 200 if you want some action, then you can find you at the end of this dagger.
And the music itself, the tonal architecture is always so good. Unironically, 100% though, and I say this, Young Scrolls is my favorite hip-hop artist, and I don't know if that's a sad statement, but it is most certainly a statement.
Small channel tuo, Duplex.
Your bloodline is important. And here at Ancestry.com, we understand that. That's why millions of certified family tree specialists are here to help you 24/7.
At this point in human history, no YouTuber has introduced me to as many of my favorite things as Justin Wang, and those would be 2 things, the Cumtown podcast and my boy DOPLEX. Just, you know how you sometimes happen upon a small channel and it's just so good that you just cannot believe it's not a huge channel? That is DOPLEX. He makes really good videos on like odd internet content and like weird old media, things that just kind of happen. It's a bit of a commentary vibe going on there. And not only are the jokes great, but also just the lore and the gimmicks that this channel comes with are so creative.
Sorry it had to come to this, but you forced my hand. It doesn't have to be this way, Mike. Step away from the pillow.
Hey, fellas.
Take him in. Get the hell out of here. This doesn't concern you.
Hey, you're that guy. The My Pillow.
And not only that, my man also has a real knack for musical comedy, which I have found myself just listening to outside of the context of wanting to laugh at something funny, because it was good music.
Bathwater, want your bathwater. Got my Jimmy's Russell, can't think of what is hotter. Bathwater, want your bathwater. If I'm denied, then this might turn into a slaughter.
There's a reason I support this man on Patreon, and even if lately he hasn't been putting out as much content as maybe everyone would have liked, it's just the sheer production value of every one of the videos really makes it worth it.
Big Channel 3, Foreman.
Ask most people what they know about trams in London, and they'll say,
I know there's trams in Croydon, but I think that's it.
But did you know London used to have the biggest tram network in Europe? So what happened to it?
But Burger, I thought you weren't gonna put any educational channels on this list. Listen here, this is my house and I will twist the rules to my liking. Actually, I won't, I'm principled like that. However, I don't watch Jay Foreman the same way that I watch other educational channels, because whenever a new video pops up on my feed, I will drop the open heart surgery I will be performing on a dying head of state to watch it. I love city planning and civics, policy, all that weird, very specific nerd shit. There is a reason why City Skylines is my most played game on Steam. And this channel does all of those things in just the best way possible. I love the humor, the delivery, the sheer educationalness of the content, and also the amount of work that is put into every little thing.
Another reason to divide London up is that it's not just big, it's diverse. From the touristy West End to the densely populated Victorian inner city to the leafy 20th century suburbs, different parts of the capital have different needs, and what they spend their money on is a local decision that should be decided locally.
Most of the content here is focused around like London and the Greater London area, but it also has some very interesting excursions into other areas of topics that are adjacent to that, at least like thematically. And even if you don't really have an interest in these things right now, if you go watch this channel, I'm warning you, you will get that interest.
Worldbuilding Notes.
So basically, if Ursula Le Guin had a YouTube channel and she was also Polish, this would be that channel. Look, I am big into world building, but I will never reach this level of sheer creativity and thinking ideas through to the end. Very often the world building here will just be expressed as the most mundane type of stuff, with all the crazy, bizarre shit that defines the world kind of almost inconsequential in the background. But wait, it still influences everything. And suddenly I will have watched a 5-minute video about weaving patterns and enjoyed every second of it.
There are no apples in the basin, but edible mushrooms do exist, and the most prized one of them all is a black puffball that grows on fallen trees. It's harvested in late autumn, and in the northeast, where the royal palace is, it's used to make a savory crumble.
Like, how do you do that even? I also really like the art style in that it's like minimalistic, but also very recognizable, which is something that I try to do. The recognizable part, at least. My body has more than 2 dimensions in and of itself, so that's way too complicated already. When I see a Worldbuilding Notes video in my feed, I know that it's gonna be a Worldbuilding Notes video, even if the title makes no sense to me. And then when I have watched the video, I will go, that actually did make a lot of sense. I was just stupid.
On the child's 5th birthday, the ship holds a great festival with lots of food, song and dance. The sacrifice is given many presents, and everyone takes the time to bid the child a goodbye, because towards the end of the merriment, a man in a spacesuit takes the sacrifice to a hatch and pushes it out of the ship into the vacuum of space.
This is just very genuinely a really good channel, and you should watch it if you have any level of interest in world building. Or if you don't, also, just watch it.
Big channel for ShoeOnHead.
No, not yet.
Yeah, I'm a shoe simp. What are you gonna do about it? I really wish that it meant anything for me to say that I've been a fan of ShoeOnHead ever since she was making shitty potato cam, low quality 480p videos. Just trust me when I say that it's been a long time. And I feel like with all the political content creators that I follow, and there's a lot of those, I feel like over the years, the most consistently I have had the most overlap with what she states and believes. And I don't know why that is, but maybe that's why I like her. And for those people who may not know this, which is probably not that many, she also does very shitposty political content on her smaller channel, Brainlit, where she does her own simping for Bernie and for Tulsi, though mostly for Bernie.
Knowing the Tulsi lore, how she stepped down from the DNC to support Bernie in 2016, I always thought those two were just, you know, the two amigos. I always wanted Tulsi to be his VP.
She's also done some videos that, like, about subject matters that a lot of creators kind of shy away from, that'll have like had an emotional, personal effect on me, which is why I give her money on Patreon. And I know everyone, even though we shouldn't, gets like emotionally involved in politics. And I feel like Shue always is a good therapist for when something bad happens, because she perfectly encapsulates how everybody feels.
Hello, fellow Bernie bros. I know it's been hard since Bernie suspended his campaign. I know it's going to suck when he eventually endorses yet another establishment hack. But fear not, because I'm here to give you 5 ways to cope. Number 1, alcohol.
So if you have ever complained that I don't do enough current events content, because I do none, go watch her.
Small channel for Stoneworks Worldbuilding.
Yes, this is another world building channel. You might be seeing a bit of a pattern here. And look, once you get into this genre of YouTube, you will find that there is a huge amount of world building channels. But this one is like really funny.
Another type of nomadic people are called the Tinkers and Traders. The best known worldwide are the Romanis, aka the Gyps. Wait, can I say that?
What?
The G word. Like, it's a slur, but it's the only way American audiences will know who we're talking about.
Huh. Maybe we should just write over it.
No, seriously, this one is funny in a way that I've seen none of the others be. It just adds to the entertainment of the thing, and it doesn't even remotely detract from the information value imparted upon the audience. Weaving in learning with comedy is, to me, the epitome of teaching. It's not always appropriate to run it that way to an unlimited extent, but it certainly is in a YouTube video. And I believe that teaching and humor go together like rosemary and maple syrup. And no, trust me, that is a good combination. I made that kind of ice cream literally yesterday. You just have to put in a little bit of lemon juice to balance out the flavors.
Because over here, where is it? There is Pale Pass. Pale Pass. Now this place is featured in Oblivion, and there's the Serpent's Trail that it goes through. And I will admit, it's a dangerous cave, I think, if my memory serves me right. However, it has been 201 years since Oblivion, and the Empire is based on Rome. And Rome had a lot of big engineering things. Why the flip-flop schnibbity bip bop top would they not clear out Pale Pass to have cargo coming through Falkreath or Helgen? Tell me that.
Stoneworks always comes up with perspectives on world building that I simply do not see. And he also always provides alternative viewpoints to how this could be understood. His advice is advice. It doesn't feel prescriptive, which isn't a problem that other world building channels have necessarily, but I feel more comfortable learning from him.
Big Channel 5, JonTron.
This is the Tesla of VR, supposedly. Checkmate, Valve. They put an S in it. You know how this works, Valve, right? Okay, you put an S on it, and it's instantly better. Okay, you seen Apple do it? It's a rank in Devil May Cry. Just saying. Back in my day, it was just A+. I don't know what's so special about S. It looks like a fucking spaghetti.
I think it's S for special.
Not in the way you're thinking.
Look, you may have never heard of this guy, but I promise he's worth it. He's just a very obscure little content creator that I believe has been on an upward trajectory for a long time. Look, not only did his old content, like, make me care about something that I usually do not care about at all, which is old video games, but the new content with the more variety and doing other things is even better than that.
This is Fort McClary State Park. Used in so many wars, they've pretty much lost count. Like the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, the Civil War, World War I, and the Spanish-American War, which I didn't even know happened until now. I guess we won.
Now, the thing that I like most about JonTron is that even though it is at its core a reaction channel, the comedy isn't drawn from the absurdity of the thing that is being reacted to. Which, you know, I think it's fine to do it that way, but I find it very impressive how John genuinely gets to put himself and his jokes as the real star of the show.
You ever noticed how, like, the doctors with, like, the least public credibility, whenever they're in a shot, they've just got the most biggest PhDs and shit behind them? You know, my patients are always telling me, Doc, hey, listen, man, can we move the frame this way? Get it, like, here? Cool? Yeah, good? All right, let's do it again. You know, my patients are always telling me, Doc, I'm following all your advice, I'm sticking to the regimen to a T, and I've still got back pain. And I tell them the same thing every time. It's really not my fucking problem. I'm like, dude, what do you want from me, all right? I don't know what to do. You want a refund on a friggin' back massage? Okay, yeah, if you pay the restocking fee. Oh, this? Don't worry about this. It was like $2 online. I'll have it replaced in no time.
And despite the enormous production value he puts into jokes like that, he still comes off as just a guy who is probably depressed, and I can relate to that.
Small Channel 5, Sabrina Abelina.
Now, I must admit that I am not the biggest fan of the Gus Johnson style of comedy, and aside from the man himself, the only channel where I go, yes, this is extremely funny, is Sabrina's channel. However, that isn't my favorite thing about Sabrina's channel. No, that would be the politics.
Hey, evicting your family hurts me just as much as it hurts you. Then I'm left with all these little apartments. What am I supposed to do? Live in one of them? Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, I just watch a lot of political content. I want to have a reason to feel the bad way that I feel most of the time, okay? Just when it comes to all the bullshit that happens in politics, especially this year with the whole, Bernie DNC2 Electric Boogaloo, a lot of comedically inspired political channels will do the very funny thing where they just laugh at the just horribleness of righteousness being defeated utterly in the face of insurmountable evil. This happens here also, but it happens with an undercurrent of subdued, ice-cold rage that makes me, very scared of ever crossing this woman.
By all indications, we are going on to New Hampshire victorious!
While Mayor Pete did campaign pretty heavily in Iowa, it's probably just also a coincidence that the Des Moines Register's poll, the gold standard, the creme de la creme of polls, was scrapped. Supposedly because one person complained that Pete's name was excluded, and when the poll taker corrected themselves and included his name, they pronounced it wrong. Whatever. So naturally, the entire poll was scrapped for the first time in 70 years.
Just airdrop her into the Illuminati headquarters, and politics will be fixed.
Big Channel 6, Internethistorien.
You're probably wondering how I got this tan. Well, let me tell you the story. It begins with a man by the name of Billy McFarland.
You know how there's channels that you just like so much that not only will you just immediately watch all of their videos even if they are way long, but you will go back to old videos regularly to relive the joy. That is Internet Historian to me. Frankly, I don't even recall a time in my life where there wasn't a sultry-voiced Australian man where it's debatable whether he's a historian or a chronicler. Because on traditional timescales, what he's doing is chronicling, but on internet timescales, what he does is historiclating. And I have thought about this a lot more than I should have. Whatever the case may be, he also does great content on his second channel, even though he has bad opinions on architecture.
This just seems like a bad haircut.
Johnny Bravo.
And look, they've built it on top of this beautiful building down here.
Yeah, this isn't exactly what we meant by adding a modern addition to these rather old-looking buildings.
Don't shit on my girl Zaha Hadid, okay? I will get mad. And yes, he too has done a dramatic reading of My Immortal, and it is a point of pride to me that there have been people who have said that they don't know which one they like more.
Small Channel 6, Dael Kingsmill.
Hello humans, my name is Dael Kingsmill. Today I've come dressed as the Blue Power Ranger, apparently.
Look, listen, this woman has single-handedly turned my relative dislike of Dungeons and Dragons into I guess the community is good because it's big and there's always a lot of content that you could pick from, and the kinds of games that you can run with it are actually quite fun. And I have been occasionally deriving enjoyment from Dungeons and Dragons ever since. She has a way of making mechanics that I will never use, but which always hint to some underlying logic of RPG design that wasn't clear to me before. Plus, I really like her style and delivery, which also counts for her mythology videos, which she also does, that are interesting to me also in spite of the fact that usually Western mythology leaves me kind of cold. Aside from the weird stuff, I guess, but I mean, I am always interested in all kinds of weird stuff. Instead of the whole problem that mythology, for me at least, has, where it's just like a dry textbook type deal that could have used 1 or 2 or 12 editors to make it even remotely readable, she just tells you a story. And she tells it well.
Christmas to New Year's, everyone's feasting, everyone's partying, dances, wine, keg stands probably, let's be real, it's the Knights of the Round Table. If that's not a mythological equivalent of a frat, I don't know what is.
And yes, of course, Matt Colville is also someone I need to shout out for changing my opinions on D&D, but frankly, I feel like she is similar enough to the master himself that I will shout her out instead. Plus, no disrespect, but I just like her videos a little bit more. I wasn't introduced to the very concept of a YouTube channel that I just drop everything for so I can watch it before I encountered Christopher Laser Pistol. And look, for a man that proclaims to not really enjoy musical comedy, I have a lot of musical comedy among my favorite things that exist in the world, but with Chris, it's just kind of the guy. Whatever format the video, whatever fancy special stuff he adds on top of the basic thing that he does, the core root of the funny is just the guy saying the words, and it would be very easy to just leave it at that. But like any depressed person who never thinks his work is good enough, ever, Chris doesn't do that.
Clap sync, 1, 2, 3. Check out my enormous PP. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're never gonna see your kids again.
And I know he's like a professionally trained video editor. He knows all the shortcuts. He's really good with Sony Vegas. However, I feel like that just leads to everything he adds to what he does being worth the adding it. And he just has good takes on YouTube and on Twitter. Anything he comments on, at least, even if I, which happens occasionally, disagree with the opinion that he has, I can respect the opinion because he is intellectually honest about it. Oh yeah, and also the real reason anyone watches Chris Reagan is Tom Sweeney, because, I mean, the man has transcended existence itself.
This is my one prejudice moment ever. I don't give a fuck about any other alien species at all. Fuck every single last one of them. I don't give a fuck. I would not be up for fucking aliens coming to the planet. I don't want them here. We can barely do people of different colors, let alone a different fucking, they could be a different class of creature entirely. They could be the 4th type of creature. I don't know. They could be made of fucking diamond. They can suck my balls. Get the fuck off my planet.
Small Channel 7. Cynic Snacks.
Now, I know that Cynic Snacks hasn't been doing the YouTube for a very long time, and for the time that he has done it, his rise has been meteoric. However, I think that is well deserved. The production value alone makes this a top-tier channel. And I know that's ultimately just a few good animations that make these videos feel so polished, but isn't that kind of the point? I'm not a trash film watcher. I'm not the kind of person who likes to do deep dives into these hellholes like many of the film review YouTubers and show review YouTubers that I do genuinely enjoy do. I just feel that it's a waste of my time. But Cynic Snacks is a great example of the exact kind of format that I enjoy that kind of content in, because it actually adds value to the original by riffing off of it and leaving out all the parts that aren't actually good.
Then there's Watch Again. I'm not a Teletubby, Netflix.
You criticized Zombieland for using out-of-date reference humor, and now you're doing the exact same thing?
Oh shit, yeah, I suppose that is quite hypocritical of me. What if I write a bit that acknowledges this, but also shows that I'm self-aware?
Oh, then that's absolutely fine.
Fine. I'm not a Teletubby, Netflix.
Also, Cynic in particular does it with a kind of like personal honesty that I really appreciate. He just seems like a nice person that has to rip these things a new one because they are bad. Anyway, that's the top of the Mount Olympus. of my very favorite YouTube channels. Obviously, I watch a lot more of them than this that I do enjoy a lot, but really this video is just a ploy so I can get smaller creators and bigger creators in the tags at the same time, so that people will, there will be cross-pollination, and I can create exposure for people whose content I value with the limited means that I have. Like, comment, subscribe, share this to your relevant communities, but do not spam them. Consider supporting me on Patreon or Subscribestar, maybe buying some of my merchandise or my short story collection. And in that spirit, please do leave recommendations, especially for smaller channels, down in the comments, or hit me up on Twitter or whatever. I really want more good content that I can waste more time on. And see you around, cunts.